Today, I'm gonna make my favorite, family favorite, roasted pork tenderloin with mustard seed and brown sugar. The family meal, it's endless, the search for the perfect family meal, for everyone at your table to be satisfied and happy with what you are presenting them. This has become our family's favorite family meal, at least in my mind. It's quick, it's easy. You can prep this and have an overnight rest in the fridge, or you can prep it as I am going to do right now, as I'm going to show you, so I can pop it in the oven when I get home. Have dinner ready on the table in about an hour. You ready? You with me? Okay. This is what you're gonna need. You're gonna need 2 pork tenderloins, organic if you can, local if you can, go to your butcher. Pork tenderloin to me is my favorite, other than the butt, is my favorite cut of pork to make. Why? Because it's very forgiving, it's very flavorful, it's very tender, there's not a lot of fat, and it is quick to make. You're gonna need an orange, you're gonna need fresh or dried rosemary, some salt, turbinado sugar or brown sugar, whatever you have. I like to use a Triple Crunch mustard seed mustard for this. You could use any grainy mustard, but if you find a mustard with the seeds, I don't know, to me it adds a little snap, pop with the marinade, and it's pretty. You're gonna need a little black pepper, and apple cider vinegar. You could use sherry, but apple cider vinegar is my top dog. Okay, here we are. So we are gonna make the marinade. In a bowl, you do 3 tablespoons brown sugar. You could ballpark it. 2 tablespoons, heaping, grainy mustard. About 2 teaspoons of rosemary. Now I could get all fancy or particular and chop these, but I'm not. Why? Because my kids are gonna do that, so who cares? 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. Because there's not a lot of fat on the pork, I do about a tablespoon of olive oil. Mix it around. Some black pepper, not a lot because the wee lads' delicate tongues. Orange zest. If you don't have an orange zest, you don't need to put it in, but to me this adds an extra tang, an extra zip. And orange, mustard, and brown sugar and pork. Put this together. All right, about a tablespoon. Done. Then you want to, before you put your salt on your pork, you're gonna want to pat it dry with a paper towel to make sure that it is dry. It will just adhere to your marinade more. So on your dry patted pork tenderloins, then you're gonna salt it. I'm, just salting it. No idea how much I used, but sprinkle it on, okay? Then you're gonna pour it on. Both sides. You could put this in a paper, in a plastic bag. You could put it in a bowl. however you want to marinate. You could marinate this, 30 minutes before you pop it in the oven. It'll still be delicious. But obviously the longer marinade sits, the more flavorful it's gonna be. I make this dish in the summertime and I cook it and serve it cold with peaches sliced. Oh my. Let's see. I'm probably gonna flip it and make sure that the marinade is on the other side right before I leave in a few hours. And then important tip, when you're making meat, you're gonna wanna let it rest out at room temperature for a good hour before you pop it in the oven. You're gonna want to remove the pork tenderloins when you're ready to bake out of this vessel and put it on a parchment paper lined baking sheet. Don't add extra marinade onto the pork tenderloins because it will burn quickly. So you're gonna wanna just put it on a baking sheet, put it in a preheated 425-degree oven for about 40-45 minutes. Halfway through the baking time, you're gonna wanna flip the tenderloin. And then I like to flip it back for the last, 10 minutes. If you want a crisp, crust, you could put it under the broiler for a couple of minutes. Anyway, it's delicious. Let it rest for 10 minutes before you serve it. You could slice it and put it on a plate. Serve it with anything, roasted potatoes, salad. This roasted pork has pretty much ranked top dog every time I make it. Now, they get a little pissy and they start, scraping off the crust, the mustard seed crust, because I use a whole mustard seed mustard. But they eat it. My daughter dips it in ketchup. My son just eats it as is. That's it. I got pork juice that's dripping and I need to wash my hand. Thanks for watching. It's a terrible look.
Holding your breath still. You shine the fire. We'll just sit and wait till you see me fly. You know they'll never catch me for it.
All I'm gonna say about pork, it's good. Make sure you get a high quality pork. Make sure you ask your butcher or your local butcher at the grocery store what the freshest and most humane pork they have. They got it. Over here we got Beelers. Beelers is what I use if I'm going to my market or if I go to my fabulous fancy local butchery. There's Marin Sun Farms. Usually they have their pork, or there's so many. Sonoma Country Meats have a great pork, but that's only if you're local, and who knows where you're viewing this at. But ask your butcher. Ask your butcher for many things. They are knowledgeable folks. They know their meat.